Now, I don't know if y'all have noticed or not yet, but Lil Baby seems to have lost his groove for a while, and at this point, it doesn't look like it's just a blip on the radar. Baby was arguably at the top of the pile when it came to the most famous and best-selling rappers just a few years ago, but these days, feels like he's lost that touch. He's just not as popular as he used to be. So the pressing question is, what exactly happened to Lil Baby's massive momentum? Well, we could point at a dozen reasons, but then we've got to break it down and analyze them together. So you can decide if Baby's truly falling off or not. But let's start with Lil Baby's guest appearance on one of Lil Yachty's latest podcast episodes. This interview has been making a lot of headlines, and rightfully so, because Baby touched on a lot of topics, some more surprising than others. One of the biggest highlights was when he spoke about his relationship with Gunna. I'm sure y'all already know the answer to that, right? If you don't, well, here it is. Those two ain't bros no more. That's unfortunate because they've made some serious smash hits together. Lil Baby also talked about the rap game in general, his career, and his connection to the streets, a topic that's obviously important to him for obvious reasons. There's a reason he's considered a street rapper, and you can't rap about the streets without being from them or having deep roots in them, both of which Baby does. But perhaps the most eye-opening moment of Baby's interview with Yachty was when he opened up about the difficulty he's facing with his music, especially his lyrics. He admitted that he's got to be extra mindful about what he says in his songs these days because of how society has been using his lyrics to take away rappers' freedoms. Baby confessed that this lack of creative freedom has made him lose some of the spark and hunger he used to have for music. Now, while Lil Baby still has a core diehard fan base, many of us just bop to his hottest releases and call it a day. That means some of you might not even notice the dip in form he's going through. So to understand how massive this guy used to be, let's rewind just a little bit. Lil Baby has been in the rap game for a while, but it wasn't until 2018 that he truly blew up in the mainstream. Crazy how time flies, right? Since his breakthrough, Baby's dropped some outstanding records and even a few classics. The highlight of his near-decade career has to be his insane run of mega hits during the pandemic in 2020. His album My Turn, which dropped the same year, perfectly reflected Baby's dominance. 2020 was hands down Lil Baby's year. He was literally everywhere. There is no doubt he was one of the most streamed artists in hip-hop that year. Almost every single song on My Turn did huge numbers, and deservedly so. If you play the album today, you'll realize just how refreshing and timeless the project is. It is one of those albums that'll stay evergreen. Oh, let's not forget his hit single, The Bigger Picture, the one he dropped in the wake of George Floyd's tragic death and the massive protests that followed. This was probably Lil Baby's most emotionally charged song. The level of consciousness and passion in the lyrics made it a powerful anthem during such a dark time, and he truly deserved all the flowers he got for it. You could easily see why everyone was riding the Lil Baby wave back then, and rightfully so. But if you've been following his career closely, you'll notice that ever since 2020, which is Baby's peak form in my opinion, there's been a slow but steep decline in his popularity. Overall, Baby just isn't as hot as he used to be. Now, this could be attributed to several reasons, but the biggest one seems to be the noticeable drop in the overall quality of his music. Now, of course, this is subjective, so not everyone might agree, but the general consensus is that people are kinda tired of hearing the same sound and style Baby's been delivering for over 6 or 7 years now. The level of repetitiveness in his songs, it's just insane. We all know Lil Baby is a street rapper whose songs mostly revolve around the streets, guns, money, women, and the lavish lifestyle of a hustler who came from nothing, and to be fair, he's incredible at bringing all of that to life in his music. I don't know about you, but let's be real. Anytime we put Baby on speaker, it's because we want to turn up and get lit. If you're looking for conscious rap that dives into politics and societal issues, there's a long list of other rappers for that, and Lil Baby wouldn't be on it. That said, the fact remains that Lil Baby's content hasn't evolved much over the years. You don't have to be a super conscious rapper to give us a wide range of quality music, but one of Baby's biggest challenges right now is the increased competition in the street rap scene. There are so many options for fans who want to vibe to hot melodic street tracks, and the general feeling is that Baby's no longer the top pick like he used to be. However, I will say it is worth noting, despite the chatter about Baby falling off, his last album did perform really well, selling over 200,000 units in its first week, which is a very solid number. But here's the reality check. That album dropped in 2022, less than 2 years after his insane run during the pandemic. So it made sense that it did great at the time. Since then though, Baby hasn't released a single or feature that's made a major splash the way he used to. There have been way more misses than hits. The only noteworthy track we could say really had a buzz was Band for Band with Central C. That song was fire though. The back and forth between him and Centr, absolutely top notch, chef's kiss, mwah. But that song wasn't even Baby's, he was a featured artist, which is why critics saying Central C played a big role in the song being a hit aren't entirely wrong. Some even went as far as claiming Central C helped revive Baby's career from mediocrity. That take is pretty wild though, because I'm still convinced Lil Baby can hold his own without a doubt. Still, if we're being honest, the numbers don't lie. Band for Band is easily the biggest song Baby's been involved in over the past 2 years, and that says a lot. Lil Baby does have some songs in that time frame that kind of flew under the radar, but are actually good if you give them a chance. Take Right On, for example. It's a solid track, and it's a shame that it's a little bit underrated, but hey, that's how it goes sometimes. Aside from that, Baby's dropped quite a few singles and hopped on some features over the last 24 months, but none of them really made a massive buzz. That said, his 2 latest tracks, Insecurities and 5am, are actually pretty decent. They're definitely worth a listen and you should check them out. Overall though, the big question remains, has Lil Baby fallen off, or is this just a blip he can recover from? To be frank, Baby hasn't done much to silence the speculation about his decline. If anything, he's added fuel to the fire. Remember last year when he made headlines for canceling several dates on his It's Only Us tour just 3 weeks before it was supposed to start? He didn't give a clear explanation, which led to heavy speculation that poor ticket sales were the real reason, and if that's true and Baby really can't sell out medium-sized venues anymore, then yeah, the conversation about his decline holds a little bit of weight. Still, even if people aren't checking for him like they used to, there's no denying that Lil Baby still has a seat at the table. His 2 latest tracks are a perfect reminder that he can still hold his own and drop quality music. But here's the thing, the hip-hop and the music industry in general is an ever-evolving space. If you don't evolve with it, you risk getting left behind, and let's be honest, ever since music streaming became dominant, especially over the last decade, the industry has become pretty brutal. Think about it. How many rappers in the past 10 years have managed to maintain peak form or even stay close to it without losing relevance? Now compare that to the number of rappers who had 2 or 3 years of blazing hot fame before fading away. Music, especially in hip-hop, has become so fickle these days. Trendy songs dominate the scene now, meaning rappers only get to hold fans' attention for a hot minute. The ones who've managed to stay consistent and grow their careers tend to be artists who focus on deeper, more meaningful topics, whether it's personal struggles or global issues, stories that fans emotionally can connect to. While it's important to note that this isn't always the case, a lot of rappers who prioritize talking about deep, authentic personal stuff in their music over chasing chart-topping hits have done really well for themselves. Take NF for example. You won't find his music topping major charts or winning big awards, but he's quietly built one of the most loyal fan bases in the game. This guy can sell out 20,000 capacity arenas easily, and all of that without making trendy or fun music. There's no doubt that NF and Lil Baby couldn't be more different. They're like night and day when it comes to the style and content of their music. But comparing these two highlights an important truth. Staying on the charts or being the most hyped up artist in the mainstream doesn't necessarily mean much in hip-hop. The ability to connect with your fanbase on some really deep level matters way more. You can debate this, but it's hard to deny that much of Lil Baby's hype has been driven by promotions and mainstream buzz. Yes, he has a massive fanbase, but he doesn't enjoy that deeply personal fan-driven connection that someone like NF has. Honestly, you're more likely to meet 10 diehard NF fans before you meet one Lil Baby superfan. It's one thing to have a fanbase, it's another to have a cult following. Cult fans don't just enjoy your music, they connect with every lyric and emotion because it resonates with them on a personal level. Artists like Lil Baby are often propelled by general hype and smart marketing, which of course leads to a strong fan base, but not on that cult-like level. This pattern often plays out the same way. An artist enjoys massive fame for a year or two, but by year 3, the percentages of a decline are extremely high. Lil Baby, however, is a bit of an exception. He's been in the mainstream spotlight for over 6 years, and his track record of consistency is clear. He's clearly dedicated to his craft, and that dedication has helped him maintain his status at the top. Plus, Baby has an extensive catalog. From his solo projects to countless features, there's plenty of Lil Baby music to vibe to. Sure, it might lack variety, but you can't deny the quality of what he delivers. The biggest challenge facing Lil Baby's career right now is tied to the very thing that made him famous, his street rap style. In recent years, street rappers have been losing the reverence they once commanded in hip-hop culture, and you're probably wondering why. Well, it's largely due to the negative spotlight being shined on them lately, especially by law enforcement. Lil Baby himself addressed this in an interview with Lil Yachty, referencing Young Thug's case as an example. Seeing a lot of his peers, many of whom share his style, getting locked up and put on trial over lyrics is enough to make anyone reconsider their approach, and it looked like it shook Baby's resolve too. Even though Young Thug is out now, no one would ever wish to endure the ordeal he faced during his grueling, never-ending trial. It's no secret that the feds have their eyes on hip-hop like never before, and the likelihood of lyrics being used against artists in court has skyrocketed. Just look at Lil Durk. His case might be slightly different, but it's almost expected that the feds would use his music against him when the case gets to trial. This is why Lil Baby's decision to reevaluate his lyrics moving forward makes a lot of sense. But here's the question. How will it impact his music and the fan base that almost always expects a certain type of energy from him? One undisputed fact is that Baby has been typecast as a street rapper. It's what he knows best. It's his story. He grew up in the environment he raps about, so adjusting his lyrical content is no small feat. It's going to be a big shift in his creative process, and it's easier said than done. The fact that he's self-aware enough to recognize the intricacies of this situation is a major win for him, but how it affects his career in the long run remains to be seen. So what do you think about Lil Baby's chances of maintaining his top-tier status in hip-hop moving forward? Do you believe his upcoming projects could bring him back to the level he was at in 2020? Well, let's talk about it in the comments section below, and if this content resonates with you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more intriguing hip-hop content just like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.